Never thought I'd be ever going back and revisiting Deadpoly for the third time ever, but just like they say, third time is a charm, and you know what? I think it really is. Deadpoly came out late in 2022, and I had mixed feelings about the game. The overall idea was phenomenal. Deadpoly always felt very interactive with its environment, and anything collected in the world could have been easily picked up and taken straight to your little base had you had the will for it. But despite all the good things that came along with its existence, Deadpoly had some serious shortcomings. Deadpoly always felt rough around the edges, first of all. The combat always felt numb and off. Bunch of animations were missing. The game had very small and yet overwhelmingly packed map compared to the things that you could do in the game. Packed with a crowded city and just with little to no polishing around that. Then after some time and numerous meaningful updates along with some cosmetics, there was a huge announcement stating that the whole game was initially a learning curve for its developer and that there is a brighter future ahead of time. In my personal opinion, the game overall was designed with a very strong mindset. It did very well in areas it was strong at, and on the other hand, it did really rough around its weak points. But every time I made a video talking about Deadpoly, I may have been very critical of the game, and there was a reason for it. You see, the game constantly felt underdeveloped and not connected. The melee system felt slightly off, certain animations were missing, the gun mechanics were great, but everything else seemed as if it just never belonged to the game in the first place. But just like I said, it felt disconnected from the game. Even the hit marks were just all over the place. But recently, Deadpoly changed. Its development was essentially paused and reworked for a newer engine. Now, the developer was very straightforward with its community and made an announcement stating that the game was going to take a new turn in its direction. And it did. And although its current version isn't abandoned as far as being erased completely, the new version of this game was going to take place. And the older version was no longer updated nor supported. And everything you see on the screen is now being basically a demo version, or perhaps a playtest for the new version to come. It finally started to make sense. The new engine of the game runs phenomenal. When you eliminate zombies, they remain on the ground for a little while without affecting the frame rate at all. Perfect performance of the game seemed very nice and remained stable for the majority of the time. Deadpoly didn't turn away from the strong points and focus on things that it did very well in the previous version, which is the looting system. Now more than ever, you can basically interact with anything in the game as long as you see it right in front of you. Basically, if there's anything you see right in front of you, you can literally interact with it. As simple as that. Weapon customization seems to be focused on a very realistic level. Your weapon is designed for your personal use, whether it's closer range or longer range. It's set to your personal preference. The recoil system is something players must get used to, especially over time. Basically what Russ was aiming to do in the first place. You know you're dealing with a really good player, judging based on how they handle their weapon in the battle against you. In other terms would be experience. And that's what stood out for me in the game the most. The game is heavily focused on PvP with that particular system. So for all of my PvP folks out there on this channel, definitely keep your eyes out on this new update because PvP is shining more than it's ever been in this game, period. Now, something I need to address immediately, for all of you already owning this game, you will automatically be given a free copy of this game once it drops on Steam. So don't feel obligated to buy it all over again. So if you currently own Deadpoly in its current shitty state, just know that you're gonna be given a free copy of the new version of the game, according to its developer, of course. The new version is still undergoing some polishment and will soon be announced. I would imagine it's a lot sooner than later. But all things considered, I think Deadpoly is finally reaching its milestone to the point where I'm actually very much interested in the game, despite my previous criticism of Deadpoly. As always, I will keep this short and nice. If this video was helpful, give me a thumbs up. Let me know what your thoughts down below. Are you considering it? What do you think about the previous version? Were you satisfied? Because me personally, I was never happy with the previous version of Deadpoly, and that's personally me. You may probably have a just overall different perspective on the whole entire game. There could be a whole lot more people you could relate to. I certainly guarantee it. I'm gonna cover this game in the future a lot sooner than later. And as always, this was your boy Roos, and I'm out. Goodbye.